Well, it is 11:30, so we're going to get started with that. My apologies to the audience members for bearing through our technical difficulties. Hopefully the little box does not come back. If it does, we will figure it out. I believe I have a copy of it as well, so I can share it on my end if we need to. But welcome to the NNP Symposium. If you are joining us back from yesterday, welcome back. Otherwise, hello. We are here this hour with Michael Garofalo, who joined us last time as well and was our most attended presentation. So we're going to see if he can go for round 2 of that. And we'll be learning about secrets of the rare coin business. So quite a broad topic. And reminder to anyone in the audience, we will be doing a Q&A session at the end. So if you think of any questions while we're going, you're welcome to go ahead and send them in with that Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. We will not be discussing them until the end, but you can send them in whenever you would like. And with that, I will turn it over to Michael.
Thank you, Liana. I wanted to thank the Newman Numismatic Portal for putting on the symposium. And I want to thank all of you for being here this morning to listen to me drone on a little bit about the last 42 years that I've spent in the coin business. You know, I've been a coin dealer for the last 42 years, but I began as a collector in the 1960s. And in 1979, the year that the Hunt brothers decided to try to corner the silver market, was when the time that I realized, you know, buying and selling coins is a lot better than having a real job. It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more enjoyable. I enjoy doing it. And I could actually even make a little bit of money at it. So anyway, I started my own wholesale business at the time and did that for many years. I traveled the national circuit, going to different coin shows all around the country. And in 2008, I moved from New England down to Oklahoma to work for AppMax. And I helped the company to become where it is today, the largest online precious metal and rare coin company in the nation. I ran the company for a couple of years. I developed their storage arrangement with Brinks, and I retired in 2019 as the director of numismatics and VP for the company. Over the years, I've written hundreds of articles about different numismatic market topics. I recently authored my first book, which is really the basis for this whole presentation. It's the things that I've learned. And really, I want to give you the opportunity to ask any questions at all that you may have, really about anything that's related to it. The idea here is to give you some understanding, both from a collector's perspective and a dealer's perspective, and how we can get along and mutually coexist and help one another. I learned a lot from the collectors who I was very fortunate enough to do business with, and they may have learned a thing or two from me as well too. But it's been a great hobby. It's been a great job. It's been a really remarkable journey. And I've seen an awful lot of changes since 1979. You know, that was prior to really certification. We had ANACs who had their black and white certificates, and they would send you the certificates with their grade, evolving into PCGS and NGC, and later CAC coming along, and the rise of the internet. So I've seen an awful lot of things over my time in the industry. I'm a life member of the ANA, a member of the Numismatic Literary Guild, and a number of other organizations. And that's something that I really encourage both collectors and dealers to do, is really get in here and participate and help one another. And I help the ANA as much as I can, trying to bring in some new members, and as a district representative. So giving back to the industry that I've enjoyed and the hobby has been something that I enjoy doing. So let's get started. And here's just a quick little plug for my upcoming book, which has the title, Secrets of the Rare Coin and Bullion Business from a Lifelong Trader. And again, it's my experiences in the industry. Most of the book, it's 170 odd pages long, deals with collectors and things that collectors should know and how to deal with dealers, et cetera. But there are a couple of chapters in the book too that are also, I think, informative for young dealers, for novice dealers, people just becoming dealers. And, again, I started off as a collector and became a dealer because I had filled up enough Whitman albums and Library of Coins albums, and I wanted to buy other coins that I didn't necessarily want to have an entire collection of. And for me, it was a natural progression. I've dealt with people who have been collectors all of their lives, and they will always be collectors. That's really what's important to them, maintaining and building their collections. But wherever you are on this journey, the whole key for what I will keep saying here today is you need to find what you enjoy. And that's really what you need to focus on. Don't let dealers or peer pressure from other collectors, et cetera, dictate what you do. If this is your hobby, you're spending your time and your money on this, you really need to do what is in your best interest and what you enjoy the most. And that's how you get the most out of this. And Liana, would you like to mention the section about dealers as well? And
yes, I'll let you go ahead and kind of explain that and preface it, and then I'll walk the audience through how to actually respond.
All right. What we want to do is, since most of the presentation here is about collectors and from a dealer's perspective about collectors, there's also a number of slides here towards the end that are really for novice dealers. So if Liana's going to ask you to raise your hand if you are a dealer and you'd like me to cover that, or if you're even thinking about being a dealer at some point in your life. I know people who've entered the industry later in life when they're retired and they have more time and they want to do some traveling. So whatever your motivation is, but we just like to know by that show of hands how many people are dealers or would like to be.
Alrighty, so if you don't remember from the walkthrough, just look at the bottom of your screen and click on that raise hand button. Just click it once and then I'll be able to see that your hand is up. It should change colors. I believe it turns yellow once you've clicked on it. It might be green or blue. So I'm going to give you just another minute or two to be sure all of the hands are up that want to be up. And this is if you want to see that last section about becoming a dealer. Okay, we're still moving a little bit. So I'm going to hang tight. Okay, looks like we have about a quarter of the hands up.
Okay, good. Well, then we'll make sure we'll run through all of this, and the fact that we can add a little more time to this is a good thing. So as far as the collector and investor topics, this is what we're really going to run through, and some of it's very basic. I apologize for that, particularly for those folks who've been, collectors for some time, but really knowing the difference between bullion, semi-numismatic items and numismatic items. And, this next bullet point is really probably the most important one. What should I collect? And it's, again, as I said, and this is a recurrent theme that you'll get here is, it's not what I think you should collect. It's what you think you should collect. It's what you enjoy. What is it worth? We're going to talk about premiums and rarities. A very important topic. How do I price it? And the different sources that are out there available to you today. And over the last 50 years in this hobby, the sources have changed dramatically. We'll talk about the factors that affect the price, the stripe, the luster, toning, the provenance of the coin. Where you should buy things, whether you should buy them from coin shows or local shops or online auctions. We'll talk about a very popular topic, Black Swan events, which is where we are today, coming out of COVID. We'll talk about certified coins and raw coins, to CAC or not to CAC. Knowledge is king. Of course, you all knew that, but I'm going to put an exclamation point on that. Grading, how important that is. Selecting a dealer, and that's in parentheses as plural, because having more than one dealer is an important thing. Joining the club, and a topic that a lot of collector friends have asked me about is how to negotiate better prices with dealers. And for the new dealers, what you should deal in, become an expert, going to coin shows, not fearing technology, borrowing lightly, and that's borrowing money from auction companies, etc., and how to deal with that. Having a mentor, your word, living within your means, learning to say no, obviously treating young collectors well. You want to treat all collectors, but especially those that are the future of the hobby. Markets being cyclical, preparing for coin shows, security, and knowledge. So you can see there's a lot that we're going to cover right now, but let's get started. So basically, if you look at the top row of this slide, those are bullion items: rounds, bars, and sovereign coins. Those are the three major categories. The rounds here, as you can see, are, this is an obverse and a reverse of an Engelhard round. And a round is just that. It's a round piece of metal, silver, usually, sometimes gold, platinum, or palladium. And its value is directly tied to the fineness and the weight of the precious metals and what the current spot price happens to be. Bars are the same thing. The only thing that's different is the shape and the form of them. Both of these may have dates on them, that may not have dates. Dates may be relevant or not. They will have a fineness and have a weight to them, so that you know just what you're supposed to be buying and what you're supposed to be getting. And then the last one over here is sovereign coins. And I used one of the most popular sovereign coins, the obverse and reverse of a silver eagle. The difference, obviously, between a sovereign coin and a round, which I'm sure you all know, but it bears repeating, is the fact that sovereign coins are issued by sovereign nations, and they have a denomination on them. No, other rounds cannot have denominations on them, or should not, is probably the right way of saying it. But they are items that are not issued by a sovereign government. Rounds are, whereas sovereign coins have a denomination. Now, a silver eagle will cost you $25 or $30. You wouldn't take that coin and deposit it at the bank, because if you did, they're only obliged to give you the denomination on it. It is $1 of legal tender. It's really, it's an arbitrary denomination, but it shows that it is a sovereign coin, and it's backed by the full faith and the credit of the country that issued it. So those are the three different types of bullion items: rounds, bars, and sovereign coins. And then what you will see if down here, this is a semi-numismatic item. This is a 1 ounce silver coin issued by the island of Samoa in the denomination of Tutala. And the reason that's a semi-numismatic item is semi-numismatic items are those which are really bullion related, but also have some collector value to them. The top row, rounds, bars, and to a lesser extent, sovereign coins, their value is really determined by the amount of bullion and where the spot price happens to be. But the semi-numismatic items tend to be those items that may have started off as bullion but have a low mintage and a higher demand. And then this last grouping here, obviously, are old U.S. coins. But numismatic items, as you all know, can be U.S. coins, world coins, currency, both U.S. and world, ancient coins, tokens and metals. It really runs the gamut. So really, that's the most basic of information for you. So now let's talk about. Bear with me 1 second here. Okay, now let's talk about what you should collect. and how you should collect it. Really, the only advice I can give you is this: collect what you like and what you enjoy. Don't let a dealer or collector friends or anybody influence you. I say the advice: don't chase the hot series here. Really, if it's your series, if it's what you enjoy buying and what you enjoy the most, obviously then it's worth collecting, and because you'll enjoy it. The thing that I found as a collector, and as having dealt with hundreds and hundreds of collectors over the years, is if people buy what they like and what they really enjoy, a series that they're really interested in, they want to know the history of it, they want to know everything about it that they can, you're really going to enjoy your hobby more, and you're going to enjoy those coins, owning those coins, buying them, spending your hard-earned money on those coins. And I give you, two examples down there. One is a group of Lincoln cents and an album. It's a nice, complete collection of circulated coins, and versus the other three pictures here in this little group. These are classic commemoratives, of course, but the collector that I knew who was putting this set together wanted to put together a set of coins in the original holders of distribution. So it's two varying ends of the spectrum. If you like to put collections together, by all means, do that. Really focus on what your motivation is and what you like the most, and don't let anybody else influence you. But if you wanted something different, classic commemoratives are different. The 50 different basic designs, and if you really have the pockets and the interest, you can complete a 144-piece set. Again, I'm not here to tell you what to collect. I'm here to tell you to focus on what you like and what you get the most enjoyment from. Now let's talk a little bit about premiums versus rarity, and what you will expect to pay over spot price or over the dealer wholesale price for items. And again, these are typical premiums that we've seen over the years. COVID came in 2020, and it changed the market. I've seen the market run up in 1979, in 1989, in 2005 to 2012. I've seen different movements in the marketplace over that time period, but I hadn't seen anything like what happened in 2020. And the reason I say that is this: it wasn't so much the fact that prices went up. We've lived through that numerous times before, but you couldn't get the supply. And it started with bullion, and it went to numismatic coins as well. And that's what made this a different type of event. But so, if getting back to the slide, the prices here are typical premiums for what you would normally see for generic, which are the most common coins, scarcer items, or rare items. And that's what you would expect to pay. The prices on the bullion, the percentages on the bullion items, are really what you would expect to pay in a normal market for items over their spot price, or for the numismatic items over their wholesale prices. And what I've also seen today too, and especially at my time at APMEX, was how the markets are independent. So sometimes the bullion market can be very, very active, and everybody's trying to buy bullion, and bullion is in great demand, but rare coins may not be in the same level of demand, or vice versa. And so that's why most dealers now tend to have a little bit of everything. They tend to have certified coins that are both bullion items and rare coins as well. Certification has really changed dealers' abilities and collectors' abilities to go outside their comfort zone of what they know and be able to buy things that they really enjoy, and they don't have to know every single thing about them. The grading services have already helped you understand that something is authentic, and they've given a grade to you on it. So again, these are just the typical types of premiums that you would see, in a normal market, and you can see why that, you would expect to pay 20% over what's considered wholesale for an ancient coin to a dealer, and you only pay 2% for a gold bullion coin. It's really supply and demand of those items. So how do you price these things? Where do pricing sources come from? When I started collecting back in the 60s, it was really, really simple then. You had the red book and you had the blue book. And the blue book is what every dealer purchased their coins at those prices. In fact, some of them would even show you the blue book to say, yep, well, this is what I'm going to pay for it. And then they would show you the red book if you were looking to buy something. So it was pretty simple then, but prices were a lot more stable than they are today. Coin magazines like Coin World and Numismatic News, well, they were stalwarts. I always grew up reading those, in the 60s as a kid. And, Coin World wasn't a very slick and stylish magazine like it is today. It was newsprint then, but it was 120 odd pages or so of just ads, a lot of which has moved on to the online realm of things. And then there are very popular magazines that, are out monthly or bi-monthly, Coins, Coinage, Coin Prices, etc. But all of those, the one issue that you have with all of these things is that they're static prices, and the prices don't change, and the prices were reported prior to you being able to buy it on the newsstands or get it in your mailbox. So they're good references. The magazines are great for stories. Coin World is great for news. Numismatic News, likewise. And the red book, I still have one on my desk. I use it almost every day, but I don't use it for pricing very much. I use it to get a quick view. Oh, who designed that coin, or what are the key dates? I use it for those facts. So they're still very valuable items to have, but that's not where I get my pricing. So you'd say, well, how do you price things? Where do the prices come from? eBay. Everybody knows eBay. Everybody has shopped on eBay, at one point or another. Is eBay a great source for you to buy coins from? It is, but you have to be careful. And here's a good example of it. When I prepared this slide, I went to eBay and I looked for a relatively common coin, an 1881 CC Carson City Morgan silver dollar, graded by PCGS in Mint State 66. And I said, okay, show me what the prices are that dealers are asking for on eBay. And there were probably 15 different coins listed. Remember, eBay has over 1 million US coins listed at any one time. So there's an awful lot of market information available there. And I picked the two ends of the spectrum. And at the time, the low priced coin for an MS66 white PCGS graded coin was $1,175. And on the high end, it was $1,963.72. Kind of an odd price, but why is there a $788 and change difference in price? Really, there shouldn't be. Was the price at the top, was it a dealer asking too much? Did he think the coin was premium quality and could grade to 67? I don't know what his motivation is, but if you want to use eBay for pricing, I give you that caveat that you're better off making sure that you look at not what's being offered, but you want to look at the prices realized. Make sure that that's where you go, because that actually shows what people paid for those coins. Now, the thing that you don't know is, did it sell legitimately or not? eBay tries to do a really good job in making sure that people are not playing games and they're not hiking up the prices of their own coins. But that doesn't stop somebody close to the dealer from buying a coin. So again, all I'm telling you is don't use just one source. Be careful when you're trying to price coins, particularly using just eBay as your source. The prices can be realistic on there, or as you can see here, they can be unrealistic. One of those prices was very far off. I tend to think it was the high price that was very far off rather than the low price. But again, that can change from item to item that you look at. So looking at multiple sources really is important. Another thing to look at is our auction comps. What did a coin sell for in any particular auction? And, there are major auctions: Heritage, Stacks, Bowers, great collections that routinely, have lots of auctions. Legend, there's a lot of different companies, David Lawrence, there's a lot of companies that auction coins off. And again, that can be a good source for you to look at for pricing things. But part of the issue is, are you comparing apples to apples? And what I mean by that is, sometimes the coins sell for a lot more than you would expect, or sometimes they're bargains. Well, there's a couple of factors that you want to consider. And here's a recent ad by Stacks touting, that 1804 silver dollar that brought $7.68 million in their sale. Well, the thing is that, auctions are good indicators of value, but you have to compare the coins and make sure when you say, aha, I found this coin and it's sold in an auction for this price, is it the same as the one that you're looking at or that you own? Was one of those coins, is it premium quality? It's nicer than you would expect for the grade. Was it beautifully toned and somebody paid a premium for that? Was it well struck, much more so than normal? That happens a lot on certain coins, like Buffalo nickels in the teens and the 20s, for example. And something else, if it winds up selling a little less than you expect, you have to remember too that auctions come with buyer's premiums. The buyer doesn't just pay the hammer price, but they're paying the hammer price plus anywhere from 10 to 20% on top of that. So that affects the prices realized that you'll see too. So, and sometimes the auction comps are the last bid, and other times that it includes the buyer's premium. So really, just the caveat that I'll give you is don't forget the buyer's premium, and make sure to look at the coins, because you want to make sure that what you're seeing is comparable to the coin that you're trying to compare it to. One place that I usually start with, and I've used this for decades, is the gray sheet. Now, the gray sheet is the coin dealer newsletter. It started off as a printed piece of paper on gray paper. That's where the name the gray sheet came from. It's always been the coin dealer newsletter, but the popular name is the gray sheet because it was printed on gray paper. Pretty simple. And it came out at different times. You had a weekly, you had a monthly, you had quarterlies, you had all different variations, and it took a number of different subscriptions to get prices on most different types of coins. Recently, though, within the last couple of years, when the company changed ownership, CDN now is a monthly magazine, if you will, and it still has all of the prices in a variety of grades. So that's one place that I often start if I'm looking for something. If I see a coin online that I'm not familiar with the pricing on, and it's arbitrarily, priced at $1,000, and I go to the gray sheet and look it up, I'll find that bid is only $500. So is it very high priced for a particular reason? Does the seller think it's premium quality, or is there something about the coin, the toning, strike, the luster, the provenance? What is it about the coin that's driving the price to that high? And it very well could be that the price on the gray sheet is not as accurate as it should be, in which case then if there's a big discrepancy, I go back and I start looking at auction comps to see whether or not, auction prices are ahead of what's in the gray sheet or not. But I often start with the Coin Dealer newsletter. It's a guide that I've used for decades, and the reason I use it is the prices are there, and they're not trying to sell you anything. It's an arbitrary price. If the price goes up or down, they don't make more money, on it. And you can see in this line here, if the price is going down, it's indicated with a red arrow. If the price is going up, there's a green arrow too. So it's really just what you'd expect. And it covers most major US coin series. And there's a green sheet, of course, which is separate, and that covers the current world of US currency. So again, it doesn't have everything in it. You're not going to get world coins. You're not going to get ancient coins, of course, tokens and metals. That's different. But for the most U.S. coins, the gray sheet is a pretty good way to start. So, again, that's what I do, and what I encourage people to do is to get a basis of it, compare one price with something else that you see in the marketplace. And that's how you will feel confident when you see something and you know that you're buying it at what's a fair price for you. Remember, the dealer's job is to sell you the coin and try to make money on it, of course, and you want the dealer to make some money on it. But the operative word there is some. You don't want him to make all the money on everything. You want to treat the dealer fairly and let him make a profit so he stays in business. But you want to get a good deal for yourself, because remember, you're paying the wholesale price plus a premium on it, and it takes time to recoup that premium in a cooperative market. Let's talk about some of the things that can also affect the price. Strike, luster, toning, and the provenance. Strike, as you know, is the amount of detail on a coin that after it's struck by the mint. And a coin can be weakly struck or have an average strike, or it can be well struck. And I mentioned this, just a minute ago about Buffalo nickels. Buffalo nickels in the teens and the 20s are horrendously struck. Those struck at San Francisco and Denver tend to not have, during those eras, really great strikes. And so when you might find a coin in that era that's exceptionally well struck, and suddenly it's selling for 50% overbid or more, that's the rationale for doing it. And what I included here was, this is what NGC uses in their coin grading guide, and that's the link to it. And that's how they determine whether something is well struck or not. So strike can definitely affect the price of the coin that you're contemplating, particularly if the coins generally don't come very well struck. Luster, that's another thing that you notice, but you notice it momentarily. Okay, so luster is the cartwheel effect on the coin. It's the light that's being reflected back into your eyes when you're looking at the coin under an incandescent light. And you rotate the coin, and those radial flow lines, those straight outward lines, they're microscopic, but they have a great function here, in that what they do is they reflect that light back into your eyes when you rotate the coin under an incandescent light. So luster is very important. Everybody likes luster on their coins. Even toned coins, you can see the toning, you can see the luster under the toning, and it makes the colors more vibrant. So luster is a good thing. And some coins have poor luster, some coins have great luster. There are Morgan silver dollars, the early S mints, 1878S, 9S, 80S, 81S, 82S. Those are coins that have tremendous luster. And when you get one that doesn't have great luster, you wonder, has the coin been cleaned, or dipped too much or something to impair that luster? So impaired luster can affect the price of the coin, just like great luster can really improve it. The provenance of the coin, its heritage, its lineage. Where did that coin come from? Who owned it? There's a list of some of the most famous collections of U.S. coins over the years. Plus, there are world coin collections and ancient coin collections that also, have great provenance. And some that I'll really mention here: the Virgil Brand collection, the Louis Eliasberg, the Norweb, and most recently the Pogue collection. People love having coins that some of the great and well-known collectors have had and enjoyed. It's kind of neat having that little piece of numismatic history. It's a great coin for a reason, and it's been part of a great collection. So that attracts people too. And I did this out of order a little bit just to strengthen a point here. Let's talk a little bit about toning. People love it or they hate it. And people think that coins can be the most beautiful thing that they've ever seen. Some people like them bright and shiny. Some people love toning. This is a great coin. This coin is a 1926 Oregon Trail. And it was sold at a Superior auction. That company no longer exists, back in 2004. And at the time, I believe it was graded a 67, and the wholesale bid at the time was $2,000. And the auction had a couple of bidders who both or all of them wanted the coin, and it came down to two people towards the end. And at the end of the day, it was hammered down for $69,000. And, why would something bring 34.5 times the gray sheet bid? It's because the collectors who wanted it fell in love with the toning. And to them, it was the most beautiful toning they had ever seen on that particular coin. But it brought that color for a reason, that this is the only coin that's toned like that. I believe it's in a 68 or 69 holder today. It's an absolutely gorgeous coin, but it just goes to show you that, toning for some people is everything. It shows that the coin is original. It's never been dipped. It's never been played with, if you will. And the person who owns that coin has the #1 50-piece commemorative set, as well as the #1 144-piece classic commemorative PCGS registry sets. So, again, this is a very advanced collector who really happens to love toning. Again, you make that decision for yourself. I know collectors who, to them, this coin is ugly. They wouldn't want it as part of their collection. They want something that's nice and bright, that they can see and they can enjoy it. Again, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and that's really true, especially with coins. So let's talk a little bit about where you should buy coins now too. We have coin shows, we have local shops. I think I would buy one. Yes, okay, I'm sorry about that. Where should you buy? Should you buy at coin shows or local shops or online or at auctions? Let's talk about all of those, and there's some pros and cons to doing it with either one. Okay, you're at a coin show. There are lots of dealers there. There's tons of inventory. There's more inventory than you can go and look at. It's amazing how much it is at a big show. You go to a show like Fun or the ANA or Long Beach, Baltimore, any of these major shows, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of dealers there, and there are millions of coins. It's absolutely incredible about what's there. So the good parts about that is, with the dealers there, they know they're in competition with one another. So you can go, and if you don't like one guy's prices, and I use the term guy, man, woman, predominantly male, but the dealer has a price. And if you don't like their price, or if you're unsure of their price, you try and find the coin with another dealer and see what their price happens to be. So there's one benefits. And plus, you can also get second opinions on your contemplated purchases from other collectors at the shows. They're always willing to, most collectors I found are willing to share their knowledge. And even too, as a dealer, I'm there to sell my coins and to try to make a little bit of money. When somebody would come up to me and say, hey, can I show you a coin that I'm contemplating buying? I'd always take the time to look at it. It's good business practice to do that. It helps the collector understand what they're looking at. You may be able to pick out something positive or negative about the coin that they haven't seen, but second opinions are good. And dealers tend to be more competitive at coin shows price-wise because there is so much competition. And now the downside to buying at a coin show is, well, there's so much competition. Where do you start? I mean, with hundreds of dealers and millions of coins there, it's an impossible task. If you want something that's relatively common, even go back to that 81cc Morgan in '66. I mean, at a major show, there could be, a few hundred examples of it. So, it's hard to do it. It can be overwhelming at times. Well, just do what you're comfortable with doing. This isn't a marathon. You don't have to go to every table at a show. I mean, most dealers like myself, we would try and do rows at a time or sections at a time, or see dealers that we knew, but we were there. It's business. It wasn't our hobby. But as a collector, when I would go to a coin show, I would go to dealers that I liked, that I was comfortable with, that had inventory, that were willing to talk to me. So again, really, when you go to a coin show, particularly if you haven't been to many big coin shows before, take a deep breath, relax. It's okay. Do what you want to do. See as much as you would want to see. You can't see it all. Just know that. Don't feel pressure while you're at a dealer's table that you have to buy, spend a lot of money. I mean, do what you're most comfortable with. If a dealer doesn't make you feel comfortable there, there are other dealers at the show. So just, find somebody who treats you well, who is honest, who will answer your questions, and who likes the fact that you're there and you're trying to do business with them. There are plenty of dealers who will do that. At a local coin shop, the benefit, well, you can build that relationship with the dealer. You get to know him or her. They get to know you. They save material for you. They know how much business that you've done, and you can get a little bit better on the pricing. And they tend to know sometimes by writing it down or making notes of it somehow, that what you need for your collection, and they can go to a show and buy certain things with you in mind. Now, the downside to it too is it's limited inventory. The best coin shops I've ever been in don't have 1 million coins. They don't have everything. The inventory doesn't change as quickly, because it is a coin shop, and they may not specialize in the area that you like. Plus, remember, it's non-competitive pricing. They may do a little better on something, if you ask in a nice way, is this your best price? They may be able to, if they have some room in it, be able to come down a little bit on it. And the other thing too is, like at a big show, the local coin shop, every dealer has their limits on their individual knowledge. You can't know everything. And the sooner that you recognize that, the better. But you can specialize in the area of coins that you like the most. And you can even know more than the dealer knows about that. And that's to your advantage too. Online. Great benefits to buying online. There are great images that you can blow up bigger than the coin and really see the details. You can shop 24/7. You don't have to get dressed up to do it. You can be very comfortable. You can at 2 a.m. There's tons and tons of competition out there. You know, in the last 10 years, the majority of dealers who are serious dealers have really, moved online. They, a place like eBay, you're overwhelmed by the number of dealers who are there. You can do all of your research and pricing sources. Everything's available online, so you can very conveniently do it there. There's a downside as well, too, to buying online. And that is, do you know the dealer that you're buying from? Are they legitimate? You know, the internet is a great equalizer. You can look like a big dealer even when you're not, by having a very good, efficient, and attractive website. It's difficult to negotiate better prices sometimes on there. You don't have the capability of doing it, particularly if it's 2 a.m. and you want to buy a coin. You can't go and negotiate a better price. You have to make sure that who you're dealing with is selling legitimate, authentic items. And if you need to return it, there's always a scenario here that, is it easy to make returns or is it more difficult? And that's the thing. It's hard to ask questions, when it's 2 a.m. and you have insomnia and you want to buy something, but there's no one there to ask. And let's also talk about the other venue, and that's auctions. Benefits of buying at auctions, well, whether you're there in person or you are just doing it online, you have great images to look at, or you have the actual coins. If it's online auction, you can shop 24/7. You can buy coins that have a provenance to them. You know that where the coins have come from, because the auction companies, that's important to them. Sometimes they offer payment terms to you, the descriptions, they've done a lot of the research, etc. The downside to buying at auction, the buyer's premiums range from 15 to 30% of the hammer price, sometimes lower if you're a good buyer, or the certain auction companies offer lower offer lower premiums. There's no price negotiation. What your bid is, that's what you're going to pay for it. And the pressure to buy something if you've been unsuccessful earlier is human nature. You mark up a catalog and you say, I'm interested in these 10 coins, and the first 8 of them get away from you. They go for more money than you thought. Now you're thinking, well, unless I increase my bid, I'm not going to come away with buying anything. And that can be a problem, and what I always did was, I would always set the maximum price. I'd write it down, make a listing of the coins that I'm going to bid on, or if I don't have a catalog, and I would write down the price and say, this is the maximum, and I would do my best to stick to it. Did it work? 95% of the time, yes. There was still that 5% of the time I fell in love with the coin, because basically, even though I'm a dealer, I'm still a collector at heart. We all are. And sometimes you do fall in love with something that's like, man, what a great looking coin that is. Well, you step up and buy it. The other place that you can have an issue is auction houses love to extend credit, which can be a problem unless you use it wisely. We're going to go through this fairly quickly, but black swan events, this can also affect all different markets, and that includes the bullion and the coin markets too. This is just what we went through with the coronavirus, and how it really affected the supply of gold and silver. It became impossible to find them, and dealers' inventories were being ravaged by people coming in and trying to do that. So again, this is something that happens. It happens more frequently now than we would enjoy. There's a list of some of the black swan events. It's not just the coronavirus, but the housing crisis that came on around March of 2007, where the banks failed, prices of housing went through the roof, and then they dropped. There are things like this, that 9/11, different events that will impact you that you can't really predict. So the thing that you want to do is just really make sure that, if it's buying coins, they're a little less impacted. But if you're buying bullion items, you're more impacted buying, during an event like that. So again, a way to survive that is to make sure that you plan ahead for as much as possible. And that can certainly, impact your hobby as well too. If your livelihood is impacted, your hobby will be impacted as well. So just there's something that we have to deal with, and something that you should always be aware of, that this is not a once in a lifetime thing. Hopefully it won't happen often, but just in my lifetime, there have been 5 or 6 events that have really, impacted what everybody does. If you look at this chart, this was the volatility of the stock market in March of 2020 due to the coronavirus. And you see the market was very, very volatile then. And that has an impact both on bullion prices directly and on rare coin prices indirectly. When the stock market is having great uncertainty, it definitely affects bullion prices to go up. But sometimes bullion prices, when you can't get bullion, like what happened during the coronavirus, that falls over into buying things like pre-33 gold in the lower grades, XFAU coins, or Morgan silver dollars in circulated condition. Those prices jumped up as well, because as people couldn't buy Krugerrands and Maple Leafs, they went to the numismatic versions of them in order to do the same thing. Let's talk about certified coins versus raw coins. Raw coins are obviously coins that have not been certified. And again, there's a whole alphabet of different grading companies. And I only want to talk about PCGS and NGC when it comes to grading companies, because they're the 2 companies that have the greatest support in the marketplace and the greatest dealer networks. And they're the 2 that really drive the momentum for pricing in the marketplace. I was in the coin business before there were independent third parties. I mean, there was ANAX. It had a black and white photo that accompanied the coin, but people weren't buying those coins on a sight unseen basis like they will today, both with PCGS or NGC coins. But certified coins have really been a revelation to the market, in that they have been authenticated and they've been graded by consensus by experienced dealers and sealed in that particular holder. And so what it does is it gives you a comfort level in knowing that the coins are this particular grade. And the reason, not all coins should be certified. I mean, if you're a collector and you like putting coins in albums, then by all means do that. But if you're buying more expensive coins, or your grading skills are not what they should be, certified coins are terrific. They really can help you. But again, with the millions and millions of coins that both PCGS and NGC have graded, remember, not every coin is perfect, even though they're graded by consensus, more than one person. There are variations in price and variations in the grade of the coins, but they catch most coins that have been cleaned or doctored or otherwise altered. So again, you're pretty sure that if the coin is in a genuine PCGS or NGC holder, what you're seeing is an authentic coin that does meet the minimum grade. Raw coins are coins that have not been graded by that independent third party. You really only buy the coins when you can see that. The grading can vary widely based on the knowledge and skill and intention of the dealer. If you're not good at grading, raw coins can be an expensive lesson, in that you might buy a coin that you don't detect the cleaning or the alterations on the coins. Now, that's not to say that every coin out there that hasn't been certified has a problem to it. That's not the case. There are some coins financially, it doesn't make sense to spend $20 to $50 to have it graded when the value of the coin is relatively low. But on a more expensive coin, you generally would like to have that coin graded by PCGS or NGC, simply because it lets you know that the coin has met their grading standards and should be able to sell for whatever that grade value actually is. And again, too, the coins that have problems on them, they can be graded and certified. They won't be graded, but they'll be called details coins. And sometimes collectors like to buy coins that are details coins because they can't really afford the coin that doesn't have a problem on a very rare date. So again, the grading services do a good job in making sure that the coins are really good. And by looking at, as a collector, you can improve your grading skills by looking at lots of certified coins at auctions, at coin shows, etc. It helps you know what the grading services, how they grade their coins. And let's talk for a second about CAC, Certified Acceptance Corps. Well, CAC reviews only PCGS or NGC graded coins, and they will put their little green or gold sticker on them for the coins that are determined to be for green, coins that are premium quality for the grade, coins with really nice eye appeal. And if it gets a gold sticker, it gets one because CAC believes that the coins are actually undergraded. Remember, PCGS and NGC, the coins are graded by human beings. And no matter how good you are at grading, you grade enough coins, you're bound to make a mistake. So again, you're able to buy coins that are undergraded sometimes if they have a CAC gold sticker on them. But remember, you'll pay a premium for those coins. Knowledge is king. The more you know about an item, the more likely you are to make a good buy. You can pick up varieties, errors, better dates. Really, it's endless. Read, research, study. Do it about the series of coins that you like. You become the expert. It really does help you. This is a picture of my library, which is in the image behind me. Buy the book, then the coin is really great advice. It's fun to read it. It's fun to know about the coins. It really, money spent on books is money well spent. And then there are, if you're collecting tokens and medals or, other items of exonomia, there are lots of subjects on, lots of specialized books on the subjects. You can join the Token and Medal Society. There are auctions and eBay, and with US currency or world currency, there, or world coins, there are books that specialize in that. There are auctions that specialize in that. eBay, you can find pretty much everything there. So because of the internet and the availability of printed material today, it's amazing how much knowledge you have available at your fingertips. That wasn't available just a relatively short time ago. Learn to grade, learn to get good at it, and then get better at it, and then get consistent at it. ANA grading seminars are good. Ask dealers and collectors who are your friends to look at stuff. Go to the PCGS and the NGC websites. There's tons of information on grading, and they show you how they grade their coins. There's so much knowledge out there that it's really important that you do this and learn to grade. Do it in a dark room, use an incandescent light, and you only use a magnifier to see the details, not to grade the coin. Looking at a coin under magnification is good if it's a very, very small coin, or if you're looking at mint marks or to see marks on coins, that type of thing. But really, you want to look at it using your eye to grade the coin overall. And joining clubs is a great thing too. The ANA, local clubs, there's specialty clubs, EAC, you name it, every specialty. Must-haves, you name it, there are generally clubs for that too. But I really encourage people to join the ANA, join their local club. It will help you enjoy your hobby even more. And then you want to, going to dealers, you want to find dealers who will help you, who will answer your questions, who will take their time to be with you. And remember, I've said this a million times already, but for 1,000,001, buy what you like rather than what somebody wants to sell you. You really want to do that. And how do you get a better price on something? Be friendly. Dealers like people who are friendly. Who doesn't? You know, if I'm grumpy, and why would you want to deal with me when the guy next to me at a coin show, you know, is friendlier? Be knowledgeable. Don't try and you know, offer a ridiculously low price on something. I mean, dealers have to make a profit to stay in business, but they don't need to, you know, to be able to afford their kids' Harvard tuition on you. So, and don't expect, you know, have realistic expectations. Don't expect to buy a rainbow toned coin at bid. And remember, be polite. You know, if a dealer is in the middle of a deal, you want to buy a $200 coin, he might be doing a $10,000 deal. You're important, but remember, you know, just have that common courtesy. And another thing too is don't renege on a deal. And what I mean by that is if you say you're going to buy something, honor it. But that goes both ways. If I'm as a dealer and I'm going to sell you something, I don't sell it to someone else. I hold it for you. It's building that relationship, which has to go both ways. That will really give a good basis for a relationship between you both. And now for people who are wannabe dealers, you know, I became a dealer after being a collector because I wanted to. And some people do it out of necessity. They want to sell their coins, but they want to make sure that they get fair money for them. Read and research, make sure that, you know, you don't just specialize in just one thing. A lot of things can happen to your market, and your market can be flooded. It can go out, you know, with inventory. It can be out of favor. So the more you know about pretty much anything that somebody can bring to you and show you, the better and more successful you be as a dealer. Plus, collectors will come up to you and offer you things that you may not be that comfortable in buying. Well, the more you know, the better off you will be. Go to coin shows. You think you know what's going on in the coin market by reading the Gray Sheet or Coin World? Well, you'll know something, but great things happen. Fantastic prices happen at auctions, and you don't have to travel to all the national shows. Start locally, then go to a regional show, then a major show, then all the major shows. You'll learn a lot. You'll make a lot of connections, and you'll find people who become your lifelong friends as a dealer. Because they're doing business with you and you're a good person to do business with. It's a great life doing business with your friends and enjoying the time that you spend with them. Remember, technology is here to help you. You don't have to have the latest gadgets at all time, but you know, most people understand that, you know, if you have an iPad or something, it can help you look up your information more quickly. You can put things in your own database so you know what you've sold them for, what you've bought them for in the past. Technology can make you smarter. Use it. It is your friend. It's there to really to help you. Borrow lightly. And, you know, as a new dealer, auction houses, when you come to them, they'll start off slowly, but as you build up a relationship with them and you build up good credit with them by paying your bills on time, they will offer you credit. It's a great thing to do. You can make a lot of money by using somebody else's money to buy things, but be careful. Make sure that you pay back things on time and you don't overextend yourself. It happens. You know, I've seen lots of dealers buy too much at auctions, and now they're selling their auction purchases for less than they paid for them originally. So be very, very careful. It's a dangerous precedent to set. I always say to people, look, if you're good at managing your own credit, you're good with your credit cards, auction credit is no different. It's a great option, but use it wisely because you can have a problem with it. For dealers too, when you're starting off in the business, get a mentor, somebody who's been down, who knows the ropes, who can teach you a lot of things about certain shows, about other dealers. They can vouch for you. Having a dealer is somebody to bounce an idea off of. It's a great thing. And most other, you know, the older dealers, the guys who've been around for a long time, they realize too that you're the future of the business and they want to help you. So getting a mentor is never a bad thing, whether you're a collector or a dealer. And dealers can also help you do things that you don't normally wouldn't be able to do, like get share a table at a particular coin show. So again, it's a good thing for whether you're a collector or an investor or a dealer. Your word is your bond. If you say you're going to buy something, you buy it. You don't come back and tell the dealer, oh, I changed my mind. You do that, it will be very difficult for you to do business with that dealer again. Mistakes happen. Sometimes you might misspeak, but you know what? If you've given your word, unless the dealer says, okay, I understand, and says to you that it's over and done with, honor what it is, even if it costs you money. Sometimes you speak first and you think about it later. I know I'm guilty of that, like everybody is. Well, when you do it and it works against you, remember to honor what your word, make sure that it's good. Live within your means. I know it sounds simple, but a lot of times people, don't do that. Don't bounce checks. If you take a check that bounces from another dealer, make sure that you go to anybody else who may be impacted by it and they hear it from you. Make sure that you check out references on collectors who give you checks, but also from other dealers too. You want to live within your means. If you have so much, that you can spend on your inventory, spend that. And sometimes you stretch and you spend a little more because it's such a great deal, but be careful about your spending. It's really important that you understand that. This is probably one of the most important of the 10 things. This is number 8. Learn to say no. You can't buy everything. You can't buy every single deal that's offered to you as much as you'd like to. And another basic tenet, really, quantity kills. You might be able to sell 3 of something, but if you wind up buying 30 of them because you bought it at a little cheaper price, you may not be able to sell them. And now it becomes dead inventory for you. So again, be careful on buying too much of the exact same thing all the time. Unless you have great avenues for it, you're going to wind up holding that. And collectors don't want to come to your table at a show and see, 50 of the same thing. They want to see a variety of coins and types of coins. So again, it's important to learn to say no. And sometimes it's hard to do it. Treat young collectors well. They're just as you're the future of the coin industry. Young collectors are the future of the hobby. I mean, really, treat every collector or investor who comes by and is looking at your coins, treat them well, and you'll be rewarded with business. But particularly young collectors, I used to bring books for them, old red books or old gray sheets or something, it's great. And the look of surprise on their face when you give them something, it's great. And this is the future of the hobby. It's but again, go back to encourage them to collect what they like to collect, even if you don't think it's worthwhile. Encourage them to do it, and they'll grow, they'll mature, their taste will change. But make sure that you treat young collectors well. And finally, remember this. All markets are cyclical. Everything goes up and down. Sometimes it goes sideways, but markets change all the time. So remember, if the stock market's flying high and a collector asks if you should take money to pull it out of the market, what would you say? All markets are cyclical. Stock markets go up and down. Coin markets go up and down. Bullion markets go up and down. Having a little bit of everything, some coins, some bullion, and some stocks and bonds are all critical. It's good to have a balanced portfolio. Well, I want to thank all of you. Again, this is the book that I have coming out later in December or January. And I appreciate your time this morning, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. So thank you.
Alrighty, then I'll go ahead and have you stop your screen share. There's a red button at the top. And then we do have plenty of questions already in the Q&A. We have about 10 minutes to get through as many as we can. So if you have more, feel free to go ahead and send them in. There's one at the top asking what was Michael's presentation about last time that was so widely attended, which was titled, "What You Need to Know in Order to Collect or Deal in Coins." So
it was similar to this. It was similar to this presentation. They're both based on that at the time I was writing the book and getting that finished, but it was things that I thought that collectors needed to know, and I've incorporated a lot of that into today's presentation and also into the book. I've spent 42 years in the industry. I look back now, what's my legacy? And this book is part of what my legacy, is. So that's really what I wanted to do, is let people understand the basics of things and give them some ideas that it's okay to do what they want to do and not to succumb to peer pressure on things, whether it's from other collectors or from the dealers that you're dealing with. Buy what you like, enjoy what you enjoy, and collect what you want to collect, and everybody else, be damned. Do what makes you happy, and you will enjoy your collection, really forever.
Let's see. Okay. Here's a question with a little bit of background. The 1926 Oregon Trail commemorative half, which sold in 2004 for $69,000, for example. How can you be sure that a toned coin has not been artificially toned or doctored? I heard someone at my coin club say that he can artificially tone a coin by baking it in a potato.
And that's one of a million different ways, and people tone things by wrapping them in tissue paper and putting them in a windowsill, or the most basic way is, putting Clorox on the coin. Well, the thing is, that particular coin, the collector who bought that coin was extremely advanced in his knowledge of how those coins came. How? Because he had bought, dozens of them over the years. The grading services reject coins because they can't call it artificial toning because they're not sure that it's artificial, so they call it questionable toning. It's not the typical toning that a coin tends to bring. So what happened was that on that particular coin, the grading services were convinced that the coin's toning was original. It just happened to be in a situation. Remember, coins, particularly silver coins, silver is a chemically active metal, and it relates to the environment that it's held in. And if the environment has any sulfur in it, like the old coin holders do, the old coin books and the original holders that commemoratives were held in, it will tone, and they tone in different ways. Is everybody 100% certain all the time that every coin that's in a holder that is toned is genuine? No, but the grading services have gotten to a point where they're pretty good at picking out coins that have toning that is questionable. In fact, I used to specialize in commemorative coins. And I talked to graders at both at PCGS and NGC about how coins come when they're held in the typical holders that they were issued in back in the 20s and 30s. So is there an ironclad guarantee? No, but PCGS puts its grading ability and money behind it, as did the knowledgeable collectors and dealers who fought over that coin. If it's one thing fooling one person, it's hard fooling a whole room full of dealers and collectors at the same time. And somebody may be able to tone a coin, but that coin toned in the potato might be easy, for somebody who knows what they're looking at, so to pick out. So again, go back to that same comment that was in the presentation. Knowledge is key.
Mm-hmm. Is there a data source that compares coin dealers in terms of their honesty and credibility? Kind of like the Better Business Bureau for coin dealers?
Well, there isn't, because that's subject to change at one time. I think what you need to do is, if you're trying to compare one dealer versus another, is this guy going to be, treat me well? Do they stand behind their products? Then there's a couple of things you can do. If it's online or if it's in person, you can ask them or look up what's their return policy on something. How many days do you have after you get it to make sure you're comfortable with it? There are some dealers who say, no, you can't return a certified coin. Well, but there are other dealers who say, of course you can return a certified coin. Honesty and integrity, they're hard to quantify. But if somebody treats you well, if they are asking a fair price in comparison to what's available in the market, if they're willing to stand behind their products, and that they sell, the coins or currency that they sell, then they rank high in, as a dealer that you would like to do, business with. Another thing that you can look at is if you're looking online, are there complaints about that company online? Are there Better Business Bureau complaints? Are there complaints on Facebook about particular, dealers and how they do business, or are they selling things that are the right way? And if you're on eBay, then you have their point system where they've gotten good feedback. And if somebody has a lot of feedback and it's predominantly good, then fine, that's great. The thing to remember is, though, too, if somebody has a complaint or a small number of complaints for a very large number of positive things, you can't please everybody all the time. So, somebody will always have a complaint about something, but sometimes it's unrealistic expectations going into it. Again, it's do your homework, but nobody can rate every dealer all the time, just simply because it's subject to change.
Mm-hmm. How do you set a price for a details coin in an NGC or PCGS holder? Is there a general rule that dealers give or expect dealers for those details labeled coins?
Well, if it's a more common coin, then I would be at a lower price point in relation to the wholesale price on the gray sheet. So if you're buying it as a collector and you expect to pay a 20% premium for the coin because of its it's moderately scarce, and you're willing to pay 20% more for a coin that's not details. If a coin has details on it, I'd expect to pay 10% over. You're giving them a premium, but you're not paying the price of an unimpaired coin. If it's a very rare coin, an 18/17, D Buffalo nickel or something, and it's impaired in that it's cleaned, you expect to pay a higher premium for something like that. But on the more common coin, expect to pay a lower premium for it. And it also depends on the details as well, too. If it's a light cleaning, that's one thing. If the coin has a severe scratch on it, and it was still graded as details because of that scratch, then I would expect to pay less. When in doubt, ask other collectors, ask other dealers. It's the best advice I can give you, because there's no one simple answer for this. Every coin is a little different in that regard.
Mm-hmm. What is the normal or expected markup on a dealer's inventory over the wholesale or gray sheet bid?
Well, it depends on what you're trying to buy. If you're buying relatively common things, Morgan dollar, common date Morgan dollars in, in 63 grade, you'll pay a much lower markup than you would for 65 or 67. So it really does depend on two factors. The number one factor is how scarce is the item. And number two is what grade level are you at? On XFs, you would want to pay closer to what the wholesale price is. Most dealers will work on a very small premium on something that's very, very common and on lower grade. But, what's the premium on a 68 graded something? Well, it's hard to say. If it's a 68 Lincoln penny and there are 1,000 graded, that's one thing. If it's a 68 Morgan dollar and there's, 50 graded, or 5 of that date, that's something else entirely. So I hate to balk like this, but there are no simple answers to that. And again, it boils down to do some research, ask people, ask dealers for their opinions. A lot of collectors and other dealers would come to me and ask me my opinion, and I would ask other dealers, particularly if I'm not very as experienced as they are in that particular area, what their opinion and what they thought a good price was on something. Don't be afraid to ask questions. We all have a level of understanding and knowledge, but not everybody's at that same level. So don't be afraid to ask questions. The worst somebody can say is, no, I don't know. I'm not gonna, I can't answer that. You know, the best thing they can tell you is, yeah, it's worth this. I bought so many of these at this price level, you know, and that's how you learn.
All righty. Well, unfortunately, that is our time, and I have to help with the next presentation, so we can't run too much more over.
Okay.
But thank you very much, Michael, for returning for a second year with us. It was a great presentation. Love to hear some updated thoughts from the last one. And looking forward to your book.
Great. Well, thank you. Thanks for allowing me to be here. And I want to thank everybody in the audience for being here too. It's fun for me to talk about coins. And it's dangerous too, because I can run over time. So again, thanks everybody. I appreciate it.
Yes,
have a great day.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the presentations. Bye-bye now.
Bye. And to everyone watching, we do have 2 more presentations starting here in about 9 minutes now. We've got Robert Van Ryzen and Wayne Homren. So I encourage you to look at their topics on the schedule and go ahead and click into either of those if you are interested in watching. And thank you very much. Hope to see your names pop up in some of the future meetings.